Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Rise Factor. Today, I have the lovely Nikitha joining us, who was previously a BDM, but we won't go into that just yet. But I've been following Nikitha for a long time. She has achieved so many wonderful things over the last years in her role as a business development manager. So, a warm welcome, Nikitha, for joining us today.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me. It's a privilege to be on your podcast. And to be honest, my background in real estate started as a BDM when I first started, and I would say it's a great role, and this role has built the foundation for my career in the future, and also what I'm going through the transformation at the moment. So it's a great way for me to start.
Yes. So your journey has been quite unique, but what drew you into the BDM space?
Okay, that's a big story. I'll take it short. I'll cut it short. I was an architect from India. I had my own business. So the reason I'm saying this is because having your own business, meaning you're going out there pitching your business, you're always chasing business, completing tasks, and running a team to make that business thrive. And decided to take a little break, come to Australia, do my master's along with my husband, who's also an architect. So that was the drive, and we did our master's. And I wanted to go into an industry where my skills are still not still, I shouldn't say that, but would be useful as my unique selling point.
Mm.
So I was looking for that kind of industry and real estate where, a BDM or a sales agent role is to guide a vendor or a landlord through the process, hold their hand, and just let them know, if you do this, it's going to gain you this much return, right? So that kind of attracted me so much. And then ever since then, I love what I do.
Beautiful story and background. And I love that you mentioned about, you had your business and there were a lot of transferable skills because I truly believe like in business development, it's like running your own business and similar skills and we have to be in that entrepreneurial mindset. What do you
Yeah.
think has been like the biggest influence on how you showed up as a BDM?
I think I'm a big believer in my values should also align with the company I'm representing, if I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And when Di Jones brought this forward to me, I was very thrilled to be, standing in the shoes of a BDM and be able to represent Di Jones and be out there, you know, building their rent roll up, as well as building those long-term relationships with clients. Because I think, coming from architectural background, I do understand that it's not just a number game or a transaction to me. I do value the emotions attached to a property, so I treat it as, an emotional connection with the client as well. So yeah, that's
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, emotional connections and value alignment with the company that you work for. I think they're really great keys. What
yeah.
was your approach to business development? What was like your uniqueness or what you brought to the business development role, do you think, aside from your background?
I think energy is big,
Mm.
especially when you're in a role like that. You could reflect the energy
Mm.
and also the skills, right? Like, to me, when I was a BDM and now when I'm in sales too, my biggest concern, or the point that I would start with, would be, what does the client want?
Mm.
What is in it for them? All of us could go out there and fluff out, oh, you know what, I do this, I do that, but they don't care. All
Mm.
that they want is who is listening to me. So
Mm.
I want it to be that, yeah, that would stay there, no matter if it's going to be 2 hours or after work hours. I would be there for them to listen through their entire story, understand their pain points, and then I want to give them a strategy to work with. It's not just an industry where we can sit and collect their rental funds and, just do the maintenance part. I think market has shifted heavily towards strategizing each property. So I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, well said, Nikita. And off air, we spoke about when I approached you to come on this podcast, which I'm so glad that you said yes. I said like, what would you like to talk about? And I see this word thrown around so much in our industry, in real estate, or just in general. And that word is authenticity. And I also see people's values go back and relate to like integrity or authenticity. But authenticity is something we wear a lot in our world, but what does that actually look like on a day to day for you?
So authenticity to me also, you will see me aligning with the brand awareness as well as we keep going, because when I said my values needed to align with a brand, that's where Di Jones filled that biggest void, right? Like where I wanted to be authentic, and they're also that, because we care for the client more than anything. And I think all of us do say that, oh, I'm being very organic and authentic. I'm not, doing any sales pitch here or whatever. But I think when I say authenticity, I literally tell my clients, they know that they can call me at 9 p.m. They know that even if I'm in India, they can call me irrespectively where I am in the world, or all of that. That's because I'm giving them that trust, and I'm building that trust with them from the initial stages. And I have multiple touch points to build that. So they also, as you keep talking to me, you would understand that, okay, she's not trying to, fake thing or sell her pitch, because I am someone who would go out of the way. I don't want your business today, but if I could help you with, getting your property painted, I'm happy to give you a great painter's contact. I don't mind if you go with a different agent, because I genuinely am not in this for numbers. I want you to like me. I want you to understand what I bring to the table, and then choose me. So I give them that trust. I put it in them, and they do see. And also, you were a BDM before, and not all transactions are like overnight transactions. Some take like years and years. So one of my biggest clients was a developer who I was working closely with for 2 years, and I kept following up with them, following up with them, following up with them. And one day they put me in touch with the right person. And then it just took off in my career, where that's quite unique for a BDM to do that, I think, especially within our network. And so I just keep going back to being tenacious, and, resilience is very important in this role.
Yeah.
Because even when I started, I wouldn't say that all my 3 years were like, just peaking through the years. I had my hard conversations. I had those tough times where no clients would sign, because one, I was new to real estate. I didn't know anything, but then I started to weave it with my experience and just be authentic. They're saying, hey, this is me. You get the whole package, and this is what I bring to the table. So to me, that resonates a lot, being authentic.
Yeah, I love that. I was at a conference actually this week, and one of a key takeaways was they said to come up with an evidence list, and an evidence list of like, why would someone choose to work with you? What is it that you're passionate about? What is the value that you bring? And I think it's with relating to authenticity, it's like you can't fake those things then. That's like your evidence list, so that when you have those conversations, it's not just about you being professional, it's about genuinely being yourself in the conversations that you are having with that person.
Correct. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Yes.
think clients can feel when someone isn't being authentic?
100%. They
Mm.
can literally figure everything out. That's why I said, everyone can do like fluff it up. Oh, I do this. This is my USP. But they don't really care. They want to know what you actually are, right? And especially if you're in a market where everyone's following you on social media. So
Mm.
they know who you are. They're like watching even before they picked up their phone and called you or decided to call you, because they're watching you back every single second, right?
Yeah.
So, in this market, being authentic is very important.
Yeah. Do you think, Nikitha, that it is important for BDMs in the current society that we live in to be showing up on socials that, obviously is alignment with the business, but showcasing their true selves.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's not just listed or just leased property photos. Even if you look at my Instagram, I don't have any of that because
Yeah.
I do a lot of authentic posts, like some funny videos, but also I would have some informative videos, market updates. Also, like general, if the whole team went out for a coffee, I would post that like a Monday morning coffee date with the team and stuff because that's who we are, right? Like I'm not faking that. We everyone's watching us in this day, and you don't have to fake that. That's the real us, right?
Yeah. So what advice would you give to BDMs who feel like that they need to perform rather
Mhm.
than being themselves?
I think start doing it because like I said in my first 1 year, because I was also new to this, I was in that headspace where, okay, so I've got this role, so meaning I might get leads out and all of that, right? So in the first year, yes, I was getting some leads, but I was also prospecting, but there was not much success with the prospecting.
Mm.
And then slowly I realized that prospecting is not a short-term game, it's a long-term game. None of the other agents might be, touching base with this lady, but if I'm calling, but also when I do make those calls, I make sure I note each and every single detail
Mm.
about whatever she said. If she mentioned that, oh, my son Ryan, he loves Tim Tams, I make sure I bring a Tim Tam packet next time I see her, or even for like a coffee catch up. So I think just listen to the clients. Don't be very salesy and pitch focused,
Mm.
because that definitely gives out that you're not being authentic. You're just pitching for their business, which I don't think everyone likes.
Yeah, I completely agree and resonate with that. And I'm sure a lot of others will resonate. And it's been a actually common theme with some others that have recently come onto the podcast when we're looking at like high performers, where the results don't just come by accident. It's, the days of making those calls or making those connects or making those touch points and those follow-ups and nurturing those clients. Because like you said earlier, Nikita, some of my clients, it took 3 years for me to get them. They were buying a house and it took them 3 years to buy their dream home to rent out that property.
Yeah.
With referral partnerships, it took me, and initially a no to then eventually get a yes. It happens and it compounds all of those things you do on a daily basis. But I think going back to like authenticity, it's, well, why are you doing your role? Like, what do you love about connecting with people? What is the value that you can bring in that evidence list to back yourself when you are speaking with people too? Because, I mean, if you can't back yourself, how do you expect clients to then want to come and work with you?
100%, I agree. Yes, yes. So that's why I keep saying that. Oh, most of the other BDMs that they would ask me, so what are you doing that we are not doing? And I'm like, I just bring myself. Like, be authentic. You don't need anything. But also, in saying that, you should know your competition, but not keep your competition in your head, because then that's going to haunt you at night, right? Oh my God, what if he's going to take over my area? Or what if I lose it to this person, because you're thinking about them constantly in your head. I'm someone who would like to know what they are, but also I would then work out my way differently, because I know that most of the people do consider this role as a numbers game. And don't get me wrong, I'm a very competitive person,
Yeah.
but I compete with myself.
Mm.
And majorly, I would tell myself, okay, Nikki, you've done 100 managements last year. This year, let's aim for 200.
Mm.
And, why can't I double? Or what can I do to double the number? And then I went with that plan to the management, and they gave me a, um, pathway to be like, okay, I think maybe if you switch this to this, you might, generate a lot more business. So
Mm.
I think it's very important for us to start wherever you're at, because prospecting is, when you put the word prospecting in your head, it's scary,
Mm.
because you could face rejection, right?
Mm.
And when I first started in this role, I would make a lot of calls, 100 calls a day.
Yeah.
But also when you're making calls, you can't quantify your success with it yet
Yes.
because you just
Yeah.
started it. But then one of my managers was asking me, so do you feel, disappointed if you get rejection? And I said, I actually don't feel, disappointed because also I think it comes from me having my own business, right? Because rejection is part of that success process. So I think, yeah, all of this kind of weaves together to that success pathway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you've been really known to be a high performer, Nikitha. And so what do you think the mindset needs to be of a high performer in the BDM role?
I think I follow this, which my grandfather always tells me. He always told me, don't run behind money, run behind hard work and success, and the money is going to follow you.
Mm.
So whenever I look at top performance, or even now, I listed my first for sale property, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, once you sell it, you're gonna get this kaching, you're gonna get the comms." And I'm like, "No, I'm not worrying about that. I want my client to be very happy with the result. That's my major concern, and the comms will follow either ways, right? But if
Yes.
my client is unhappy, what's the com gonna give me, right? Yes, it's gonna increase my monetary value, but will that give me happiness? Maybe not.
Mm. Yeah. I feel that, and it's actually a conversation I had with a BDM earlier around that. It's like the money is a compound of like time and energy, and essentially we're of service. And the more we are of service to people, then naturally, yes, the more money that we earn and the commission comes. But it's all of the things that we do on a daily basis that leads to earning that money and the success. But I really love that quote, Nikitha, how special as well. It was
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
As a BDM, did you have particular like non-negotiables that helped drive your results?
I think my non-negotiables were keeping in constant touch with my old clients.
Hmm.
Because when you are a top performer, it's very easy for you to get lost in that busy noise, right? Because, okay, you've got 20 coming up, so you're like all stuck in that. But I really care for my old clients. I would make sure I at least meet with them for a coffee every quarter once,
Mhm.
or some sort of touch point, right? Like writing them a personal note, or, I brought this in to show you, we actually have like a magazine. So I bring it back to the existing clients saying, hey, this is the new week's magazine. If you're looking to purchase or anything, right? You've got everything in there. So just a little touch point, which I really love. And that's non-negotiable for me. And I'm bringing this forward to my sales journey as well, because maintaining those relations is very important for me. That's
Yeah,
how you get repeat business as well, being in top performer, right?
yeah, absolutely. So earlier you said that we it's not success isn't just about the numbers. So for BDMs, whether that they are new or experienced, what are the things that you believe that they can be focusing on outside the numbers? Like, how many properties that they're listing, or how many appraisals that they're doing, or how many calls they are making.
Mhm. I would say get out there and learn new things, like new strategies in this ever-changing world and market and everything, right? You need to have something unique. If
Mm.
someone is doing a basic management plan as a BDM, then try out something different, right? Do it, land it in a different way. You might not even need to pitch your fees or anything. I would say just be strong. Rejections are there everywhere. Even for me, I might go to 4 appraisals, but I would have only signed one. But it's about learning from those mistakes and
Mm.
not repeating those. And I'm someone who does not hate to learn from my mistakes. I would also learn from your mistakes, someone else's mistakes, because I don't want to do the same. I want to be the better version of myself. So I
Mm.
would say that would be a great advice for whoever's starting. And one more thing I would like to say is it's not a quick game, guys. It's not happening overnight. You got to be resilient and tenacious.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's the next part, actually, perfect leadway into, what I wanted to discuss is that consistency. And I feel like consistency is where a lot of BDMs fall off. So what do you believe has helped you stay consistent over your time as a BDM?
Um, I would say, like I said, the touch points would help you a lot to, maintain that consistency because they might have a sister who's got two properties up the coast or somewhere, right? So they build your portfolio in a way once you build that trust and nurture them.
Mm,
Um, and I think to keep it I think I learned this hard way last year when I was in the peak. In the first 3 months, I think I did about 75 managements. I've left prospecting behind because, it looked very healthy ahead. So
mm,
I didn't need to stop and do that. I was like, oh, I'm so busy. I got to do this, I got to do that. But then after the first quarter, there was this from 20 managements to it went down to 8. And I
mm,
was like, oh my God, I should have, sat down then, done
mm.
my prospecting properly. So I wouldn't have like a little curve down. I would have gone up or at least be steady, right?
Yeah,
So I think in this industry, sorry, not negotiating, but prospecting is very important. And that's the first thing that we all neglect
yeah,
doing because it's natural for us to, feel scared of it.
yeah,
And I think that will give you great consistency and also just, having, and if you do like 20 calls and you feel disappointed, call someone who you already know, who you already signed up. They will make you feel like, oh, they've trusted me. So
yeah,
that's fine, right? They
yeah.
they trust me with their property. It's a big decision, right?
Mm,
So just, and also I think in this role, your energy levels could go up and down, up and down. And I always like tell myself that whatever happens in personal life or at work, that's all external noise when you step into the workplace because
yeah,
you're here to do this. I'm here to show up for my clients, if not for me, right?
yes.
So I always bring that optimistic attitude and I love to reflect that onto whoever I'm seeing that day. And I think that's kept me, really going good.
Yeah. Is there anything that you do outside of work that helps you like stay grounded or disciplined, or like maybe rituals or habits that you have that keep you performing at a high level?
Yes, they are. But I would say I'm kind of obsessed with work,
Yeah.
if I should say, because I think last year I took a gym membership in Camaray.
Mhm.
The reason I took that gym membership was because there's a lot of potential clients going there.
Yeah, grill
So
'em
I
up.
chose I chose the gym that would also let me do kind of networking with them,
Yeah.
right? So I'm wired very differently. But I think you should also be loving what you do to be that obsessed with what you're doing, right? So
Mm.
I don't feel bad in saying I'm obsessed with working because but again, I go for long walks, I do my Pilates, some days would be like, your hump day and I would go back and after I do my Pilates, I would be like, oh God, I feel so much better.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I completely get it. I mean, again, when you're so passionate and you love what you do, it's not just about work. It's
yeah,
about like the impact that you have and the conversations that you have. And I mean, I still have clients that I worked with years ago that are still friends of mine now, or referral partners that I had that are still coming to me asking for recommendations for people. It's like because it was just a part of my life. So I completely get it and understand. And like I'm very much an extroverted person. So for
yes,
me, like I love getting out there and meeting people and networking, and
yeah,
that's like another passion of mine is
yeah,
connecting, networking with people. And so
absolutely.
real estate and BDM was a perfect place to integrate all of that together.
Yeah, and also listening to their stories, right? Everyone has a different life story, and I love to be, able to listen to them, like share those stories with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What do you think? So obviously the real estate industry is changing, like you said earlier, the way that we do things are changing now, the way that landlords want information is changing, the service that we provide is changing. But when we think of the word premium service, what do you think that's going to look like now in well this year or in the future? Like, what do you think are the things that are going to help a BDM stand out
Yeah.
and offering a premium service? And the reason why I'm asking that is because so many times I get BDM saying that, this agent's offering 3%, or this agency is offering 0%, or this agency is offering 6 months free, but we're not actually focusing on the service. So I'm curious to know what you think the premium service looks like so that we do get paid for our value.
Mm-hmm. I think the word premium gets thrown out a lot, right? Although it's just a normal management or a different management kind of way. But I think when I say premium, and with the shifting market, property management is not just property management anymore, right? Like, we need to find them a solution, a strategy in a way that it would, bring them more revenue of return of investment in the future. So when I meet with the clients, I first ask them what the goals with their property is, like how emotionally invested with that property they are, right? Because that could have been someone's home where they had 3 kids and now they're moving out for a reason, and now they want this to be an investment. So I always tend to ask all of these questions, where what are your future goals with your property? Is it to hold it for 2 years and then sell it later? Or are you going to move back in? Or are you looking to renovate the place and then, probably look to sell, or for you to move back or expand? Or once you get the reasons, from there, I then weigh my strategy accordingly. If I have a client saying, oh, I would like my property to be negatively geared because I'm on a very high tax bracket, so I need to offset that, then myself and my property manager would come across with a strategy that would be effective for this particular client. I don't think we are in an industry where a cookie cutter approach would suit anymore. And that's where I think we as a brand as well bring in a lot of value and stand out in the market, where everyone's just going in with their API data market analysis, the same analysis, and the standard MAA, whereas we are doing things differently, trying to understand their goals, understand how they would like their property to be managed. It's not like, okay, this property manager is going to suit you. I always ask them, we've got a plethora of property managers. Depending on what your needs are, we would then organize a meeting with them and, let them handle it the way you want it to be. Because it's no more, oh, this is how management goes, 5%, boom. So I'd like to know their pain points and challenges and all of that to make their property make money for them.
I'm going to ask you a question, Nikitha. So one of the things that I found is that some BDMs are very good at talking about the strategy, and when listing and leasing the properties, and then the property management side takes over because they've onboarded to the property management, and there's no existing strategies in place then to continue to help their client who perhaps told you that they're negatively gearing their property for tax reasons, and then it's like, cool, we've got that information, but then nothing is done with it internally. So do you think that, based on what you said, the traditional property management role also needs to change because of the conversations BDMs need to have with the client now to be able to showcase that strategy?
Absolutely. I agree 100%, because there's no point in me going out there and, signing up business if my property managers are not delivering the same results, right? And also at Dye Jones, we call them investment managers, not property managers.
Love it.
Because we are actually managing your investment. We are not a traditional property managers. So what we do, and we are all human after all, right? There is, you could get super busy. If I met you this morning, went through your property, you told me that, oh, you know what, my existing property manager never communicated with me. She was not responsive enough. And that's the reason I'm looking at someone else. And you've kept in touch with me. So, I felt comfortable. So I took all of that, and I would have gone to another appraisal, and then, I would have signed you up, but I would have lost in translation there, right? When I got
Mm,
back, signed your management. So what we here at Dow Jones are trying to do is, from the starting point, when we signed the MAA, we've incorporated some additional questionnaires in there.
mm,
So we collect all of that. And let's say the investment manager is, going on a maternity leave for a year, and someone else is covering her portfolio. We've got everything
mm,
here that the landlord had said that this is how I want my property to be looked after, not
mm.
the other way around. So
Yeah.
we have that communication, and I personally have a handover with the property manager
Mm,
saying, this is what we spoke about. This is the strategy that we are applying on this property. And she would like to be communicated twice a week, either a phone call or a text message. And if you've got any maintenance, she would like 3 quotes for it. Any of those things, we make sure that everything is intact from the time I speak to the client first time till how many other years we manage the property for. So we are very what I would say, very proud to be able to do this, like provide them with a strategy and maintain that relation,
yeah.
because I think there's a lot of BDMs where they bring the business on, give it to the property manager, and forget about the property and the client forever. And I am a big hands-on BDM. I would still go back saying, would you like me to help you with something here? Do you need to have a conversation with the landlord? I'm happy to jump on the call with you,
Mm,
because they trusted me and signed up, right? So I
yeah.
give them that trust that I'm there.
Yeah. So further from that, I love having these conversations.
Yes.
Further from that, do you believe then the retention of that property is not just the property manager's responsibility?
I believe so, because we are the first person that the client is making connection with.
Mm,
And as BDMs, we have the privilege to being in front of a lot of clients, right? And in their properties. And when they trust you and give you those keys to you, that is a lot of emotion right there. There's
mm,
trusting a stranger to take their house keys and do open homes. The
yeah.
kids are at home. They have their belongings, but they're trusting you. So it's a huge responsibility for the BDM. I think that's how I found success in this role. And
Mm,
I think that's how every other BDM should be.
mm,
Because even if some rough patches happen between the property manager and the client, because you made that connection, you still can maybe fix it. Not that it should go wrong, but
If it
you have
happens,
that.
yeah.
Yes, yeah. If it happens, worst case scenario,
Yeah.
I think that's why I love to be hands-on,
Yeah.
to be available at any given time. I always tell them in the beginning, saying that, hey, Sarah, your property manager will be looking after you. However, they also have a portfolio to look after. So
Mm,
if you need something important, they might be in a meeting and could not get back to you in the next 2 hours or something. I'm always available on the back end. If you need something urgent, pick up the phone, give me a call. I will answer anything that you'd like for me to. So I
mm,
think it's more about giving them that trust,
mm.
right? That retains the business. And
Yes.
even worst case scenario, if they're not happy with the property manager, they still really love us.
Love you.
So
Yeah.
they will still, retain.
Yeah. I mean, as a BDM, at one of the organizations that I worked at, if the management was lost within the first 6 months, we actually had to pay back our commission from
Mm-hmm.
that property. And at the time, I remember thinking, well, that's not necessarily my fault if something happens or they go elsewhere. But what it did do very early on, Nikitha, was it was like, okay, that's a touch point that I need to ensure that I have. And if anyone is listening, we recently did a webinar, which you can get the replay, and it is about onboarding of a client. So if you would like that replay, message me onboarding, I'll send it. But it's like, it's not just that we're onboarding initially and then it's going to the property manager. There is a whole journey ahead for this investor, and there are places where the BDM can still have those touch points and the property manager having those touch points. I even know some businesses that their directors also have touch points with their client, or shows up and do a video or a webinar. And I think that's genius, because it takes a whole team of people to look after that one client.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, that's what we also have heavily invested in the last 2 years.
Mm.
The onboarding process with the client, which is the crucial part, right? You can make or break the deal. That
Yeah.
experience could completely be a drastic experience for the client, or a mind-blowing experience to the client. So
Cool.
we do take a lot of time in that. And also I make sure that the client and the property manager meets at some stage or before the tenant commences, so that, phone calls are okay, but I feel like a face-to-face is very different to build trust. If they see you in flesh and in face-to-face, they trust you more.
Absolutely.
So I make sure that they meet and they're comfortable with each other. That's the reason I asked the landlord. So these are the options that we have. Read
Mm.
their profiles, and given that your situation, I feel that this person and this person would suit your property really well. But it's up to you, because I don't want to say that, hey, you get this property manager and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which happens a lot, right? It
yeah, it
happens
does.
a
Yeah,
lot.
yes.
For BDMs listening, Nikitha, that want to elevate their results this year and beyond, where should they start?
I think BDMs should be the knowledgeable person in their market, right? When you are going in, I think with AI coming in place, everyone's just asking ChatGPT. So what can my property lease for, or
Mm.
who are the agents in my area? So everyone's checking everything even before they're met with us. So they do have kind of a sort of knowledge in their head, and they almost already know what it could go for.
Mm.
So I would say prepare really well before you go to an appraisal. Don't take it as a, that's all right, I'll be fine kind of meeting. Know
Mm.
your market really well on the back, as if it's your back of the hand, like know it. And I think also be able to guide them. We are not there to make the decisions, but we are there to hold their hand through the process and educate them. So I think educating your landlord is very important.
Yeah. And for anyone who's wanting to stand out more this year and be more visible, what should they focus on?
Bro, Instagram, social media. Go out there, put yourself out there. If you've got a great testimonial, try and ask the client if they could say the testimonial like in the person, right? Because more than a static post, a video makes more sense. And, people do connect to that even more. So I would say just be your authentic self and put yourself out there and have the go-to attitude.
I love it. So congratulations again on stepping into now a sales role. And so what does success look like for you in your next chapter now?
In my next chapter, I think, like I said before, just being a sponge, trying to
Yeah.
soak as much as I can. And I do know that there's a lot of established agents. But again, when I started as a BDM, that was the same thing, right? But I was able to crack the market, learn it from scratch. So I'm going to bring the same attitude and energy to this and apply the same physics.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we're all cheering you on. And
Yeah.
if any BDMs listening today would love to connect further with you, Nikitha, where would you love them to reach out to you?
My Instagram handle is open. It's now listed with Nikitha. It used to be Nikitha BDM. So they can look me up on Instagram. Or if you are someone who's looking to be a BDM and you have a lot of those questions and noise in your head, feel free to give me a call. My number is also on my Instagram. So
That's
I'm
beautiful.
always happy to have a conversation. So no one needs to hesitate to call me. And that's how I'm with my clients too. They know that they can call me anytime.
I love that. Thank you so much. A big thank you for joining today, Nikitha. Like, I mean,
Pleasure.
we could talk for hours and hours about many different things, but I just wanted to say like a huge congratulations, for your success throughout the years as a BDM, and for the attitude and authenticity that you do bring to our profession. Definitely go and follow this amazing lady who you can get some inspiration from. You're absolutely incredible. So, and I'm sure that look out sales teams in your area. They've got you coming for them now. But I'm really excited to see what that success looks like for you. So thank you again. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's a privilege to be on your podcast, and thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. And as always, to our listeners, keep rising.